This is a video review of In the Heights, so spoiler warning if you have not seen the movie or musical. So here it is. In the Heights is a great musical movie. It felt like they took the advantage of it being a musical in how they made it using different angles. The movie did make a different story in some different ways, but I feel like it improved the overall narrative, where the original had Abuela Claudia winning the lotto as what allowed Usnavi being able to live his dream, where in this one he did it all on his own. He got his parents' bar on the beach all at the beginning of the movie, so the rest of the movie it was kind of like he had this next part of his life coming up, and I like it how he achieved it on his own. I also think the framing device for the story was great. That's something you could only do in a movie. It subverts expectations, especially for people who haven't seen the musical before, and I really like how we could see the block that they lived on, and it was really something that you could only do in a movie. It helped build the community aspect where everyone came up in Alabanza. I love the just walking down the streets with the candles. I feel like it really showed that Abuela meant so much to this community and that all these people are coming here to honor her. It really built the community aspect up, which is something I didn't feel as much whilst watching the musical. Maybe it was just because I had to watch a scuffed version on YouTube because there's no shows playing anywhere around me. I love Sonny's plot about him being an undocumented immigrant. I liked how it felt like it fit the story whilst not feeling like it was overtaking the narrative, and it was a really good way to incorporate the undocumented immigrant side of things. And the way they incorporated Nina's story was great, whilst I have other problems with Nina's story coming up. I think the inclusion of Kuka was not being one of my favourite parts of the story, and it definitely felt like she took a back seat and was just a part of a trio. It felt like that she had good moments, and I wouldn't have put her in there if I was making the movie, but her inclusion was a welcome one. And probably the best part of the movie were the choreography and the group numbers. I loved the way that they did them. Honestly, when rewatching the movie, sometimes I just skip to songs like 96 Southern, the Carnival song. And the songs, whilst not being as good as the original soundtrack, I love the little changes they did make. And I've been listening to these playlists for the past month and I have not gone sick of them yet. I also like how they were able to let scenes breathe a lot more than the musical, whereas the musical it felt next song, next song, next song. But here they were just able to let it breathe a bit. Now onto the characters. This is just a break between what I liked about the movie and what I didn't like. So Usnavi was a great lead, whilst his story was predictable. Anthony Ramos gave a great performance, but the reasoning for him staying wasn't as good as the musical, whereas the movie we see Vanessa make a few outfits and an artwork of a beach where he lived as a kid. It didn't hit as hard as the mural of Abuela Claudia did in the musical, and I was really looking forward to it coming up in the movie. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see them, and I went, this is much more better than the musical because they actually would have made a set for it, like it would have shown much more detail and I would have been able to see it, but it kind of upset me that they didn't do it. Vanessa's inclusion, I liked how they gave her much more of a role than just the love interest. Making her struggling artist wasn't something I was hooked on, but I did appreciate the effort and the extra depths, especially for the longing for something more. I feel like I connected to that much more, and it helped really sell why Usnavi likes her. Nina's story I felt wasn't as good as the musical. I think the reasoning for her leaving in both were fine. When it comes to her arguments with her dad, I felt like the mum not being there made it not as good. I really missed that family dynamic that we had in the musical. Also, when she decides to go back to college, in the musical there was such a beautiful song where she's still grieving Abuela Claudia, and it's going through a box and finding some memories of Abuela Claudia, and then she goes back for Abuela Claudia in the musical, and that's just something that isn't in here. I like the reasoning for her going back, but the song Everything I Know could have been included so well in here, and it could have been both reasons for why. She could have went back because she felt like she was going back to honor Abuela Claudia, and she was going back to help the undocumented immigrant. So on to the things I think weren't as good, and honestly, as writing this, I just went like, oh, these are just things they didn't include, and I thought were so much more better in the musical. So this is just basically what they should have included. Now I feel the exclusion of Camila Russell, which was Nina's mum, It meant we had to lose one of the best songs from the soundtrack. I loved Enough. I felt like it was something that should have been added. The inclusion of it would have just been hiring an actress and giving her a couple of scenes and just making the movie maybe even just a little bit longer, which I wouldn't have minded. But I felt like the loss of her meant the family dynamic was off, the arguments weren't as good. Now, along with the things that they didn't include Sunrise, Everything I Know, and Enough, just for no reason apart from Enough because Camila Rosario wasn't in there. The other two songs would have fit so well in just a few different scenes. It just wasn't as good as the musical, I feel like, in some cases, for the reasons of them excluding stuff. But besides some character decisions that they made in the adapting it was really good musical movie, if I were to rate it out of 10, I would give it an 8. I have more musical videos planned for the future, and this is just going to be a part of a series of videos where I try and get a review out every second video, but we'll see how it goes. But this is Movie Nerd signing off.